All right, let's take a drink of tea. Now, we do have quite a bit to go through here. I'm just going to bring my notes up over here. So last time when, before my trip, we went over all the individual gods: Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Aphrodite, Hermes, Demeter, Dionysus, Hephaestus, and Ares. Okay, the main, pantheon. And so now we're talking about some of the, the remainder of the pantheon, the lesser known gods. Or maybe just less popular. I think it's just less popular, in my opinion. I wouldn't call them the lesser known. I don't know. That's just me. Or the lesser gods. Which is, even in my opinion, more disrespectful. That's tempting fate. Before I get too far in, I just want to, let me see here. Oh my god. My mouth is so dry. It's ridiculous. I just want to let everyone know who's watching on Twitch that we now have some tiers. If you look, let me put a message in here. All right, you are going to see a badge next to my name. That is the new subscriber. It's one of the new subscriber badges. And I believe it's if you subscribe for I think it's 3 months. Obviously I've been here for a long time, so I have the big one. Yeah, there are now tier badges. So if you subscribe, and you can also subscribe through your Amazon Prime, by the way. So if you already have Amazon Prime, which I know a lot of people do, you can subscribe, and it will cost you literally nothing. So, and then you'll get some cool badges with it. Not only that, but we do have the store. I think it's slash. No, it must be exclamation mark. You get confused between the store and the commands in Discord versus on Twitch. So we do have a Twitch store. So by just hanging around, you're going to get some points. These are just for funsies, and you can buy things at the store. Things that will make me do things like hydrate, or to have a snack, or do a praise to a deity for you. Maybe even do a tarot card or a alphabet stone reading. So these are all really fun ways that you can have fun in the stream. People on YouTube, I'm sorry, YouTube doesn't do that. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube for videos that are going to come out, and clips, and things that we're not going to stream, as well as following us on Twitch so you can have fun with the rest of us in the community. Right, so with that being said, let's talk about the gods. I'm so glad to be back. Okay, so we start off talking about the first, the last, the longest running, and the most used, or the most, I would say, honored, but not the most the favorite deity. I feel like Hestia gets overlooked. I feel like she just gets the first and the last, and that's it. I'm gonna get a Starbucks pumpkin spice latte for this lady and offer it to her. Just her, no one else. Oh shoot. My I did a bad thing. Hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to use a machine. And I think I did a bad thing. So I think Hestia gets super overlooked. And I think it's super unfair. Like, all she gets is the first and the last. And obviously there's a little bit more to her, because Hestia, or Hesti in Minoan, I didn't know she had Minoan roots. That's pretty cool. My girl's well-traveled. Yes. Anyway, so is the word for hearth. So, I mean, that's not uncommon, right? We have many deities who are like the personification of something, right? So Hestia being the personification of a literal hearth. I have heard that before. Of like a literal hearth flame, like a fire, like a bonfire, whatever you want to call it. Whatever kinds of fire you like. It also, this was something that it was very interesting to me. To banish or to destroy a family is to drive out a hearth. So, if you ever have to evict a family, I don't know if you have a rental property or something, you would not be making Hestia happy. And I think we can probably pray to Hestia for people who do get evicted, or people who do lose their homes in a way. Because it says or to destroy, like for the people, oh, that's great for a lot of the people in Florida who are suffering because of the hurricane. Is it classified as a hurricane? Ian, is it right? Ian? Man, I'm terrible with names. Anyway, this is obviously a terrible situation for anybody to be in. Nobody wants to be in this situation. No one wants to see anyone else in this kind of situation. It's awful, and it breaks my heart. And if we were going to do something, perhaps we can do a community pray, or may I just encourage everyone to pray to Hestia and say, hey, these people, their hearths have been destroyed, you know. If you want to, if that's something that you are interested in doing, I try to include, you know, help other people that have suffered, you know, just trying to put some good vibes out there. So that's something I think I'm going to be definitely doing shortly. So I just thought that was an interesting thing about Hestia. I had never heard that idea, like to destroy or banish a family, to drive out a hearth. So let's see. I'm looking at my notes. The ever-burning hearth. I think I'm going to turn my volume down because the music's bugging me a little bit. It shouldn't be lowered for you guys, though. It should be still fine. The ever-burning hearth in the Temple of Delphi was sometimes seen as the communal hearth for the whole of Greece. I have heard this many times. Let's see. Here we go. Now, I wish we could know. It just might not be in here. How long the hearth burned for? How long were they able to keep the flame alive? Because that's pretty cool. I have to make my text bigger. I can't see. I'm so blind. 125. Oh, that's so much better. So the hearth is an offering place for libations and small gifts of food. The beginning of the meal is marked by these offerings by being thrown into the fire. Of course, as we know, when we give offering in the beginning of the meal, like many cultures, I am saddened by the fact that I was like, oh, like I used to have a fireplace and we used to have a fire pit when I was a kid, and now I don't have that because I live in an apartment, and it makes me kind of sad. I can't quite do that. I do have a like very tiny burner, but that's not something that I could easily fill up every day. It's very tiny, so very high chance of spilling. The power worshipped in the hearth. Here it is. I highlighted this. So I was playing with the PDF settings, and apparently I can do little sticky notes. The power worshipped in the hearth never fully developed into a person. That is a very interesting statement, because I'm like, well, Hestia, like, she's not the personification. I mean, she is, but she's not, you know. Anyway, since the hearth is immovable, Hestia is unable to take part even in the procession of the gods, let alone in the other antics of the Olympians. Who says she wants to? Like, I feel like someone who's, like, always warm and you know, taking care of the family, I don't feel like they would really care that much about, you know, going off and having antics or whatever. Anyway, that's me, and that's my UPG about Hestia. But it is a thing, and I didn't know that she wasn't able to even partake in, like, she couldn't partake in the procession of the gods. Or at least that was what the thing they were talking about. Let alone other antics. Yeah, I guess there isn't a lot of stories, but, like, that doesn't mean that that didn't happen, or that couldn't have happened. That's all I'm saying on that one. Many gods. Next thing I have, we're not gonna go through everything, but the next thing I have here is that many gods wooed her, but she swore to remain forever a virgin. I was not surprised. So I think I heard this someplace before, but I didn't know that it was because she was so popular. Like, literally in my notes it says, damn girl, you fine. Like, I didn't know that she was so wanted by everyone that she was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm out. I have a brownie here, so I'm gonna eat it now. And then it was very interesting that they contrasted that with the fact that, like, daughters, hold on, there, that daughters would be the ones tending to the hearth. And, you know, I never thought about a fire as a phallic force, and I still don't. After reading this, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's strong and it's dangerous. I don't know. But, you know, you do you, boo. And so it says, like, this was not a good idea. Even worse, it wasn't even good. Okay. Thus Hestia sits at, where's my mouse? Sits at the center of each household, receiving fatty offerings. Are they, oh, they're making dick jokes? Oh my god, I just got that. That's funny. But of course it's also a joke because, according to the story, I think it was Prometheus helped the humans trick Zeus into picking the offering that had the least meat and more fat, because the fat was laid on top of it. And so Zeus thought there was, like, meat under it. And when they cooked it, all the smell and deliciousness of the fat, like, melting and dripping on the fire, is what convinced Zeus to pick that one instead of the one where he later discovered was actual meat. So, yeah, and she says she never attained an importance comparable to that of the Roman Vesta. I don't know much about the Roman Vesta. But I kind of want to go learn about it now. I'm gonna be honest. This is such chill vibes. Like, I'm trying to be, like, excited and stuff, but this music is just so nice and chill. Okay, I'm gonna try to pronounce this. Y'all can mock me later. Tag me in a TikTok or a Instagram story if you know how to say this. And if you know, like, you say it correctly, you have to actually show me that you know how to say it. So, okay. Eilithia. Oh, that was probably terribly wrong. The birth goddess. Okay, I did not know this. I'd never heard this name before. So she was worshipped already in Mycenaean times. Of course, indispensable to the family. So it's interesting that we have a lot of etymology here going on as well. The cry of pain and fear calls on her until she comes, and with her the child. Oh, I get it. That's cute. Like the stork. Oh no. Did we just find some Christianization or something? So naturally, it's primarily women who worshipped her, of course, and she's closely associated with Artemis and Hera, but it develops no character of her own. Bitch, I didn't even know she was a thing. I thought Artemis was the goddess, was the, like, birth goddess. All right. Excuse me. Tea is delicious. A number of deities, as it were, doubles of Homeric gods. I don't doubt that at all. There's of course the idea and the belief system in which all of these versions of gods, Greek, Egyptian, whatever, are all like the same set of gods, or even the same god, in which we see different facets of, or we see the different gods of like one pantheon. And I don't disagree to those. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's fairly plausible. I, however, obviously, I'm still a Hellenist. Okay, we've got a few more here. We've got Hecate, of course, or Hecate, depending on how you want to say it. I love that they put in here is a goddess of more independent character. Like, they straight up are like, she's just a boss queen. Like, she's just her, and like, she loves her. And she's like full of confidence of her own, character and what she does. Anyway, however, often equated with Artemis from the 5th century onwards. Okay, so that's good to know. Like, anything, so if you're looking at a piece of art or something and it's from, after the 5th century, you come across Artemis, you might want to think about it and see, is this really Artemis, or does this seem more like Hecate? So, she is okay, the same lith, I don't understand this word, version with short Cretan, chiton with short chiton. I think that's the thing. That's something. Okay, except that instead of the bow, she carries torches. Okay, so she's similar. Okay, so she is similar in style, and I think with the short chiton is a piece of clothes. Very similar aesthetically to Artemis. Okay, so they borrow each other's clothes. What's wrong with that? Don't judge, don't hate. Anyway, except that instead of a bow, she carries torches. Look, they're friends. They don't have to like everything together. Oh man, I gotta make up a comedy skit about like the gods and information like this. This is, I think I'm funny. So it's as though these may be taken over by Artemis. So like Artemis is willing to help, and we see a lot of crossover in the duties of the gods. I feel. I mean, we talk about that a lot. And that's, it's something we commonly see. Oh, we see chat. Oh, sorry, Jiro Miller from the Discord server can't make it. That's okay. That's totally okay. It's okay. I gotta get back into the flow of things myself anyway. Okay, choking on tea. Not good. Yeah, I have to be accountable to myself. Alright, let's see. Hecate is the goddess of pathways. Do I need to scroll down this? No, not yet. Okay. Hecate is the goddess of pathways and Nodia, especially of crossroads and the offerings laid down there. The triple form figure of Hecate arose from the 3 masks which were hung at the meeting of 3 pathways. I did not know about that. What? So were there 3 masks of like maiden, what is it? Maiden something and maiden, mother, and crone. There it is. So are there 3 masks of that, and it just became her aesthetic? Oh my god. Oh, I totally have an idea for a Hecate aesthetic. Anyway, that is really cool. That's really cool to be like, okay, it's not necessarily that she is triple formed. It's that the triple faces of the masks kind of became a way to, as part of her iconography. I think that's the right word. That's really cool. I did not know about that. The pathways of Hecate are pathways of the night, accompanied by barking dogs. I've heard that before. She leads a ghostly retinue. I don't know how to say that. Hecate is also the goddess of the moon. Okay, she's the goddess of the moon. Isn't Artemis also the goddess of the moon? Anyway, and of moon conjuring witches of Thessaly. You heard it here. Magic can be part of your practice. Such as the dreaded sorceress Medea. Hecate seems to have her roots among the Craetians of Asia Minor. Oh, okay. So Hecate also has deep roots. You know, I think I heard that somewhere before, actually. She's the most, her most important sanctuary is Lagina, a temple state of Oriental type where there are also sacred eunuchs. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know she had a sanctuary. That is pretty cool, and that is why I marked that. Sorry, I'm just reading the things I copied from my notes. So if anyone has any questions or anything like that, just let me know. Or if you just want to say hi. I love that you say hi, too. Okay. Prometheus. All right. Yeah, that's fair. Is Prometheus isn't a god. Yeah, he is a god. Yeah, that's right, because he can't die. So he's the son of a titan. The titan Lapetos. In this one, I thought there was a one that Zeus created, man. For funsies. But apparently in this one, Prometheus created men. And he stole fire from the heavens for us. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate my warm things. And arranged sacrifice to their advantage. Yep, what did we just talk about? His adversary Zeus replied by punishing men with the first woman. Hey, Pandora. What? And her jar of evil, chaining Prometheus to the Caucasus. There we go. And sending an eagle. Is it eagle? I thought it was a different bird. To devour it, but it makes sense it was an eagle. To devour his liver until Heracles released him. I don't know. You know, I've heard that story many times. But I don't know, something about the way it was just laid out, the way it was here, I was just like, this feels really, dare I say it, Christianized. I don't know. Or maybe that it was that the story was. I know this in some religions they take the stories and then they make their own characters for the stories, so it's just a different name, right? Maybe this was that way. I don't know. It was just, I never thought of it like this when it was just so laid out like that. But we did learn one thing that I very much am always looking for stuff about our festivals, about things that we can do to celebrate the gods. And it mentioned here that the festival in Promethea is celebrated with torch races. So I did not know that. We then go to Leto. So there wasn't a lot to say about Leto, and actually the main crux of the section of Leto is that, you know, she's really not talked about besides being the mother of Apollo and Artemis. Like, just as it says right here, otherwise, as far as the Greeks are concerned, her role is defined simply as the mother of the divine twins. And it's just really kind of sad because I kind of feel like this, yeah, that's, I feel like a lot of moms could relate to that. So if you're a mom and maybe you're becoming an empty nester and you're like, oh shit, I was just a mom for like 18 years or whatever. And you're now wondering, oh, what do what's next? You might want to talk to Leto, I feel like she might get that. So then we talk about a couple of sea deities. There are some small cults for different ones. There's Thetis and Leucothea, which there isn't a lot about, and we actually, even Pan only gets like one paragraph. And it is not a great paragraph. Which is kind of, that's a problematic shit right there. 3.2 Societies of Gods. Pan and Ilithia, oh goodness, are also found in plural. This was interesting. I didn't realize this. So there are Pans and Ilithias. Like these aren't just people. They're whole, like, I guess, species. So there's more of them. That's not their name. Like, you're not, I guess probably one is named Pan, which is, I don't know, the OG or something. But there are many Pans. There are many half satyr people. Or there are many satyr people. So, satyrs? Is that right? I don't understand. That's how I'm reading this. Anyway. The next thing that I thought I'd look at here is the society. The societies of gods are strictly segregated according to sex, male and female, and are homogeneous in terms of age group. Most are imaged as youthful figures, dancing, singing, or in state of ecstatic frenzy, but there are also groups of old women. So sororities and fraternities? Right? That's all I'm saying. But it is interesting that for the most part, I guess, they were not very segregated. They were only segregated by sex, which I have to say, I don't mind an all-female club. I'm gonna be honest. So instead of gods, I don't know why I have some trouble with these words. These societies are also occasionally termed daemons or attendants, and there are there's these different roles, which I thought was really interesting. One second. Sorry, I had to cough for a second there. I'm also just gonna jump out of the streamed VC here for a sec. Okay, so there's these different roles, right? And these groups mirror real cult associations, which had a heavy emphasis on music and dancing. So we gotta get more music and dancing into our rituals. I don't know how to do that, but I'm open to suggestions. Because we need to honor the gods properly. So, okay, let's see. Let me scroll down. So, I think I may have scrolled too far down. Yeah, I did. So the term nymphs is treacherously ambiguous since it refers to equally those divine beings in trees and brooks, and to the bride or simply any young woman. So hashtag confused. Because then it goes on to be like, okay, like here's random sentences around the different monsters and stuff. And I'm like, wait, how does this... I mean, I know we're talking about that it talks about a wide range of divine beings, but like how do... It's just, they don't flow together. Like there's nothing connecting them. I was really confused about that. I feel like that could have been bullet pointed or something like that. It did mention that the Charities, Muses, the Nereides, oh my gosh, I can't say these words, and the Oceanies are choruses of young girls. I'm just saying those would be really, really great a cappella group names. Right? The Greeks, let's see. Wait, I'm going down to, yeah, the satyrs. The satyrs and maenads, right here. The satyrs and maenads dance around Dionysus. The nymphs dance with Artemis, and the Corites or Corybentes, oh man, I'm terrible, dance around the newborn Zeus child or the enthroned Dionysus child. The Muses surround Apollo. The Ocean accompany Persephone on her fateful meadow, and the Cyclopses forge a thunderbolt for Zeus. So this seems like an amazing party, but also like talking about everyone with their posse. I love it. Like they're their hype crew. That's fantastic. Oh my god, someone used to draw the gods with like a hype crew, like I don't know. I can just see like Zeus being like a frat bro with like one of those college, I don't know what I know they have a special name, the vests, the jackets they wear with the embroidery of like like a thunderbolt for Zeus, and just have like all of the what do you say, the Cyclopses just behind him, like being like all like standing and posing, like I don't know. Man, I wish I was a better artist. So we talk about divine associations that carrying abstract terms in which way they're more personified, like the different choruses of young girls that are mentioned in Hesiod, like the I can't say those words. And of course, they have these names that were given to them by Hesiod. And it's a little bit of information about a few more goddesses and deities, but nothing I really wanted to go too far into. I wanted to jump over to the nature deities. Now it says here, I think I didn't really see anything interesting until, where are we going? Fallen spirits. I'm trying to see where it was that. There we are. So this is where I am. Much of what we call natural, using the terminology developed by philosophy in the 5th century, of course, was known in earlier times as divine. So that makes total sense. There's a lot of what we look at now and we're like, oh, okay, like we understand the science behind it and it's less mysterious, but you have to understand it. Even actually recently, I've kind of had moments, ironically, when I was had not imbibed in anything. But I kind of understood, and kind of as I've been learning more about science, ironically, have understood more the scale of the universe, if you will. And I think that most people don't quite understand this, because it's taken me a while to wrap my head around it. And it's like literally I'll go out and do my like evening walks, like around sunset, and which, by the way, is why we're gonna move the time of book club to 7 p.m. Sorry, guys. But I've just kind of been looking at like the sunset and like the moon come up, and you see the moon and you're like, oh, it's like this, like it's a large thing in the sky, but it looks small, right? And like the idea of like, oh my gosh, like that thing is like is way bigger than I think it is. I actually forget the scale of the moon. The moon is smaller than us, but I mean, but it is it's probably larger than the entire United States, right? It's massive. Like people could stand on that and run around on it like no problem. And I'm like, what? And like it's really been hitting to me as we've been doing more rockets and we've been doing more space exploration recently, the size of the universe and how things work, and like how even now as we understand more, when you really think about it, it is immense and awesome and terrifying and like invokes curiosity and just a sense of magic, like literal freaking magic. And so I'm not only saying this is 100% possible, but it still does invoke and seem divine. Is my TED Talk. So, okay, we are, let's see, I gotta get back to my notes. Sun and moon, yep. The sun and the moon is really what I hear about the most, and it even says here they're unquestionably represented in the ancient Near East as major gods in the pantheon. In the Greek religion, however, such deities are very much overshadowed by the divine figures defined through poetry and cult. Zeus is now far from being simply Father Sky. And he is. This says a lot here for a second. Okay, so Sun and Moon. It's really interesting because the two deities that I would say are natural deities that I know of. The ones I know of are Helios, which is the personification of the sun, Selene, which is the personification of the moon, Gaia, which is the earth, of course, and Uranus, which is the sky. I believe is the sky. Like, those are the ones I know, which I think are prevalent very much, as they said, unquestionably through, I think, many religions, and many pantheons. But it is interesting to me that they are not one of the 12. I always did think about that. And I guess they're up further in the food chain, if you will, but like, still interesting. Interesting that we don't honor them as much as the main pantheon. At least in my opinion. Okay, I'm running out of drink here. It says, oh no, it's the end. And I do think Zeus is now understood as being far more than a sky father, Father Sky. I think we've talked about it recently, that it was his job to create more deities. And it was a difficult thing. One could imagine doing that when, your partner is not thrilled. And the number of times Zeus gets in trouble is really funny. And I think he also represented the common man, but someone who was of good stature, of that you would be like, oh, I would love to be mentored by this guy, right? I think a lot of men, of course, looked up to Zeus in a way. And I think that, I think we talked about that when we talked about Zeus. So, like, and he's like and it shows. He's like the boss king, right? And a great example of this they brought up is when in the Iliad, Zeus summons the gods into assembly on Mount Olympus. And so he's very much this leader, right? And to kings, he was a great example, right? Of course. And maybe a little bit of idealism of what they wanted kingship to be. And it probably was, to be fair. I feel like that would be like celebrities right now. So, anyway, he tells them, yo, come to Mount Olympus. And it's not only the well-known Olympians who come, but also all the nymphs and the rivers. And so when, think of it like, not Simba. Mufasa. It's like Mufasa from The Lion King. This is the entire savannah comes, right? How you explain Greek mythology to children. And speaking of which, they do mention that on coming of age. Did I miss that bit? Yeah, here it is. On coming of age, both boys and girls dedicate their hair to the river, as well as votive gifts are brought to the fountain house. Animals are also slaughtered into rivers and springs. So it seems like there's a ritual, and I put this aside very specifically because there have been many times when people have asked, is there any like coming of age ceremonies, or is there any like converting ceremonies, like almost like baptizing or something like that. And I've definitely personally heard any coming of age. I had someone that I saw that asked this question. I think I responded that I don't know. But now we know there was something that they did. Next, we end up talking about, of course, as we mentioned, Gaia. So I love the way they put this. She's a prototype of all piety. That's so much to unpack there. Who was she a prototype? Like, who was the prototype made by? Right? And she was a prototype of all piety. That is something else. Like, I feel like I have to, like, Google the word piety. Okay, the quality of being religious or reverent. Reverent to what? I don't understand this. I don't. But I do get the other bit, that another bit in the here that says the earth not only sustains, but also imposes obligations on her native sons. So, humans, go green. We also talk about the winds here. And just a quick thing that the wind, Cult of Wind receives much more attention, it says. A priestess of the winds is already found in the office of the Mycenaean Knossos? I don't know. But so they definitely been mentioned before, the winds. Next, as we talked about, Helios, the sun god. And I love the way they put it. The sun is a god everywhere. Like, the sun sees all, right? Which I think is referenced in the Tale of Persephone. So, the largest Greek statue in bronze, the Colossus of Rhodes, is a representation of Helios. I did not know that. And then we also talk about Selene, the moon, which I just kind of noted it. It wasn't that interesting. Let's see. It's actually 7:55, and I know that we ordered dinner, so it's gonna arrive. So I don't have the leniency to stay. I think we'll end that off right there. I feel like we went through it really at a really good pace, and I feel like this is gonna be a good pace for the rest of the book club. So we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna steam through this because I have not been doing a great job making sure we get through this book. So we are gonna kill it. We are gonna get through this. I also have been reading another book, which I'm discussing on the Discord. So if you haven't joined the Discord, boom, there it is. Here's a link. Ta-da. And come join us. It's gonna be great. I'm so glad to be back, and everyone have yourselves a wonderful Friday. And may the gods bless you this week.